It's your boy Spank Dog, aka Puffinstein, at YouTube. Like, comment, share, subscribe. You already know. BC Spank Dog at Instagram. Let's get right into it. I don't know if everybody out there has heard of MKUltra, but I know a lot of yous have. They recently declassified the MKUltra program. The video we're going to watch breaks that down, along with also how they might be trying to get us to eat stuff that we would never eat. Let me show you guys the video and you'll understand what I'm talking about.
With all these events currently going on in the world, we don't know what's real, what's fake, what's AI, what's not AI, and what's out there to mentally manipulate us. I thought it's a good time to go ahead and talk about Project MKUltra. Now, for those that do not know what MKUltra is, I'll go ahead and do a brief rundown, and this is coming directly from the CIA's own website because they actually declassified the program. Reading this article right here, it goes on to say MKUltra was the code name for a covert CIA mind control and chemical interrogation research program run by the Office of Scientific Intelligence. Under MKUltra, there were various ways of controlling the human behavior, anywhere from filling up an individual with drugs like LSD to horrific mental and physical abuse that would make even the hardest minds crack to carry out various tasks. The United States government said they terminated the project in the late 1960s, which is true. That is very true. And before that, they also terminated MK Delta, which was the predecessor to MKUltra. So they terminated MK Delta and they continued with MKUltra. So you can see what I'm getting at here. They terminated MKUltra and they continued on with something far more advanced, which they indeed did. A lot of people believe that more advanced program being Project Monarch, which it is. They even apply electroshock therapy to a pregnant woman's womb to control the human behavior right away, right from the start. But let us go ahead and read these other programs that came after MKUltra. I'm actually reading this from the esd.whs.mil website, which comes directly from the Department of Defense. I'll go ahead and link this PDF in the comment section below. I'll go ahead and pin it so you can go ahead and follow along. So apparently this is where all the information comes from. It goes on to say that in testimony on August 3rd, 1977, before a joint session of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence and the Senate Subcommittee on Health and Scientific Research, the Director of Central Intelligence reported that the Central Intelligence Agency had located a number of boxes of documents consisting largely of financial records relating to experiments using human subjects in which drugs were tested for mind control and behavior modification purposes. But what this article leaves out is the extreme physical and mental abuse that these human subjects went through. They're only talking about the drugs because it relates to the financial records. But the PDF goes on to say that the director testified that it appeared that 3 other projects described by these documents, projects designated MK Search, MK Often, and MK Chickwit, were Department of Defense programs with which the Central Intelligence Agency had had some contact. The director also described 3 other projects designated MKUltra, MK Delta, and MK Naomi, which were primarily Central Intelligence Agency projects, but which might have had some Department of Defense involvement. You can see right here, MK Delta, this was apparently the first project established by the CIA.
If you can't tell how secretive the government is after watching stuff like this and other things, then you're naive.
CIA in October of 1952 for the use of biochemicals in clandestine operations. It may have never been implemented operationally. I don't believe this was the first. I believe this was the first one where the financials came into question. But you can also see MKUltra here, which they say was the successor project to MK Delta. You can see MK Naomi here. This project began in the 1950s and was terminated, at least with the respect to biological projects, in 1969. This may have also been the successor to Project MK Delta. Its purpose was to stockpile severely incapacitating and lethal materials and to develop gadgetry for the dissemination of these materials. But here's where we come to the successor of MKUltra, which would be MK Search. This was apparently a successor project to MKUltra, which began in 1965 as they were getting rid of MKUltra and was terminated in 1970.
First of all, I wonder what branch of government gets with the CIA and says, hey, let's get a bunch of people and fill them up with the strongest drug that exists. That's like ayahuasca, like the stuff that people travel, forget which country it is in South America, Colombia, Ecuador. I don't remember. It could be multiple countries for all I know. People travel to those South American countries to try ayahuasca and go on something called the Vision Quest. People feel like it unlocks your brain to a point where you're utilizing a part of the brain that you don't normally utilize, because we're supposedly only use 10% of our brain. If I think LSD is the way to unlock your brain, or even ayahuasca, I don't know. I mean, ayahuasca is supposed to be ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is supposed to be a more natural hallucinogenic, like mushroom, but LSD is synthesized. MKUltra was a stupid project. That's them just abusing their power, grabbing guinea pigs and playing a game.
Its objective was to identify new drug developments in Europe and Asia and to obtain information and samples. Then next, MK Often. This was also apparently a part of the MK Search program. Its objective was to test the behavioral and toxic effects of certain drugs on animals and humans. This part goes on to say how in September of 1977, the agency permitted the Department of Defense representatives to search additional boxes containing MKUltra records. Both sets of materials consisted of approvals of advances of funds, vouchers, and accounting records relating to these projects. So as you can see, they terminate the projects, they terminate the name like MKUltra, but then they continue on with far more advanced programs. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and read this whole PDF. You can go ahead and read it yourself. Like I said, I will go ahead and link it, but I do also want to read this part right here where it says Army programs. It appears from the available documents that the Army was involved in one aspect of the Central Intelligence Agency project designated as MK Chickwit and two aspects of a counterpart project designated as MK Often. The document search is described in Selection A below, and each of the Army programs is described in Section B below. So in a nutshell, these two programs are identified as identification of new drugs with behavioral effects, and number two, databases on evaluation of pharmacological products. And they want us to believe that the Army did not have any human test subjects. They just funded for the collection of this information. But let us not forget that in the beginning of 2025, we had two big suspicious events involving members of the military, more specifically members of Fort Bragg. We had what happened in New Orleans and the individual that caused what happened in Las Vegas, the Cybertruck explosion. So I don't really think their experiment stopped either. There was a FOIA request on the CIA website for MK Search, and as you can see, they present us with just this. But there is a file attachment, MKUltra subproject, and a lot of MK Search is actually still classified. There is some declassified information, but it's hard to read. I'll also go ahead and pin this in the comment section as well. But yeah, a lot of it is still classified. But make no mistake about it, they're still running these very advanced programs today and terminating the old ones. Something else took MK Search's place, and whatever that was, something else took its place. And I do believe that something far more advanced involves the TV and media, something that can target the mass population as a whole through music, movies, the news.
The movie Netflix just put out, it's an animation movie. It's called K-Pop Demon Hunters. It's a team of 3 girls who are a girl band, and they actually fight demons. They're like demon slayers. They use these special kind of colors, well, a special combination of colors. But if you see your kid pasted to a screen and he's just like staring at it because the colors, he loves the colors, that's not good, especially if the kid is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3, 4. They're soaking it up like a sponge. I feel like it would dumb the kid down. So you got to be careful with these things because they're really designing them like this. He speaks, I think, to this right now because he's saying MKUltra wasn't good enough. They're trying to control the masses, not just a bunch of people they fill with drugs. He's talking about them trying to utilize screens to control the masses.
And so forth. Programs now designated to control the human behavior on a mass scale. And it's not just the United States government, but all these governments around the world, China and so forth. Because all these governments that we think are enemies on TV are all in the World Economic Forum giving very similar speeches and all friendly to one another. They are involved in the Bilderberg meetings and other meetings that the public is not privy to. They also control us through food and through the use of AI. Anything that's uploaded on the internet that we see that may be suspicious or strange or something they may be caught involved in, the first thing people will say is that it's just AI, because we're presented as the public with very powerful AI like Google VO3. So again, like I said in the beginning, we don't know what's real, we don't know what's fake, and I do believe that's
Google
what's a part
303.
of this new mind control project, this far more advanced one. But anyway, we still talk about these news stories, and more
Yo,
than
did
ever,
you
we have
see
to use
that?
our discernment. But moving on
I gotta
to another
rewind it. I
news
don't like
story,
rewinding when I
Sunday,
do the
I covered a
commentary, but
that's
I
what's
got
a
to.
part
Check it
again.
out,
The
people.
first thing people will say is that it's
Something's
just
wrong with this
AI,
video,
because we're
but
presented as the public
even
with
this
very
one. But watch
powerful AI
the bear
like
come off the
Google
bus.
VO3. So again, like I said in the
I'm
beginning,
not
we don't know
real.
what's real, we don't know what's fake, and
Okay,
I do
good. Look at
believe
the
that's
bear.
what's a part of this new mind control project, this far more advanced one. But anyway, we still talk about these news stories, and more than ever, we have to use our discernment. But moving on to another news story, Sunday, I covered a news story about how all these pelicans, they dropped dead out of the sky over Mobile, Alabama. Now,
This is the type of stuff that people should be on alert over, because that's not regular. That's scary. That's real scary. That's not Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees scary. That's real scary, bro.
I did get a comment in one of my most recent videos, I believe a couple days ago, where somebody said to me that these pelicans, they are still all in the street. They're everywhere. Nobody came to pick them up, which is interesting because we had news and media go out there on that exact same day, again,
They
Sunday,
don't want to
saying
touch
they
them.
called police and animal control. They said that lightning knocked these birds out of trees. I instantly called BS on that because white pelicans, they do not go into trees. They do not nest or perch in trees. Matter of fact, if you go ahead and look at the photos and
Smart.
videos that news and media gave us, you will see that the bodies of these birds, a lot of them, are nowhere near any trees. So I said there's something very suspicious about this story. Now the residents are saying that the bodies of these birds are starting to stink. They're causing a smell in the air, and they're demanding the bodies to be picked up. So in turn, the City of Mobile Sanitation Department did go ahead and give a response by saying, while our animal services team only handle live animals, our sanitation crews will be removing any carcasses located in the public right of way. But here's the thing, a majority of these carcasses are located on private property. So they're saying they can't touch it. They said they cannot enter the property without a right of entry form that each property owner has to sign. And they go on to say that if a resident prefers not to sign the form, they may place the animal remains at the roadside in advance of their next scheduled trash collection, which won't be until June 25th. And the residents are saying, please come out, we'll sign it. And they still have not come out and given any form. And at the same time, the residents are breathing in what these bodies are leaving behind.
Come on, man. That's suspect anyway. That's so not natural. Like, what? First of all, nobody knows what's behind that. And you're our government. You're our state. The least you could do is remove the birds for us, bro. You know what I'm saying? And that's not even me, but that's them people over there where it happened, Mobile, Alabama, I believe he said. But what I'm saying is they're scared to death. They're thinking that those birds have some sort of germs, bacteria, virus or something. If they touch it, they could get sick. At least the state, the government, they have the right equipment. They have the know-how to handle the animals correctly and where to dispose of them. You know what I'm saying? There's no doubt in my mind that somebody should have came and collected that, especially because in the times that we're in, the people that are in the houses where those birds fell out the sky, they're freaked out. I guarantee you most of them are scared to death.
This news agency, News 5, they went ahead and said, we returned to Stewart Drive today to find that the birds have not been cleaned up. News and media were told that the pickup would happen no later than Monday. They go out there at 4:30 p.m. yesterday, and the bodies are still there. So the timeline has now changed, and the city is not showing any urgency. They go ahead and say whether we have a signed form or not, the latest we can go ahead and pick up these bodies is either the 21st or the 23rd. So there's definitely something more happening here because there's zero urgency from the city to come collect these bodies, which now the residents are breathing in. So do with that as you like.
Morgan Ashley live for us in studio tonight. Good evening, Morgan.
Good evening, Sean. So Representative Scott spoke this morning at a legislative committee in Boise. She's worried about the possibility that people are eating other people and may not know they're doing so.
See, this is, again, the birds was bad. This is worse. You'd rather be in the know than not know. If they're trying to put something in my food, I want to know. I don't want to be in the dark, so I don't know that I just ate whatever they're saying people are eating.
She says with the rise in human composting, which is legal in several states as a means of dealing with human remains, she was concerned about what other uses may be found. During today's meeting, she explains what finally convinced her to act.
I was on a plane this summer and I was watching, you just kind of randomly go through channels, and I watched a video of some food show, and the three contestants tasted the food and they had to guess what was in it. It was some kind of a sausage. And one of the options they told these people that was in the food was human flesh. And I thought at that point, and this was on a plane this year, I thought this is going to be normalized at some point. The way our society's going and the direction we're going, this is going to be normalized.
Morgan Ashley live for us in studio tonight. Good evening, Morgan.
Good evening, Sean. So Representative Scott spoke this morning.
So big media, they want us to get comfortable with the idea that Soylent Green is people. Now, make no mistake about it. It's been like that for a long, long time now, for years. They just want us now to get comfortable with it. They want these TV shows to show us that, hey, eating a sausage made of human really tastes no different than any other types of sausage. Now,
You heard that, right? Are you okay with them normalizing eating other people, cannibalism? Are you okay with that? I'm not okay with that. And to be honest with you, if you do say it's not that deep, I think you got major issues.
Now, look at this news article published by Business Insider. Here's how Hannibal creates food that resembles human flesh and looks delicious. We were talking about a commercial not too long ago, a KFC commercial that had these type of undertones where they show us that they turn people basically into chicken tenders. You may be saying these food shows might be doing this for ratings, they're being facetious, but we also have to remember that all but one state in the United States outlaws Soylent Green is people, and that being Idaho. There's already things like human composting, which turns bodies into fertilizer to help nourish trees and plants and other things. But let's be honest, I wouldn't doubt one bit they're also taking this and, again, adding it into the food. I have covered multiple news stories on this channel where bodies are missing from funeral homes or inside caskets, or family members, they'll go ahead and get their loved ones cremated, and what they'll get in return is just dirt. It's a big business, and there's a lot of money that goes into this. There are also many people out there that do the calculations between how many animals there are and all of these fast food chains and grocery stores and so forth that have animal products, and the numbers just do not add up. And again, like with what I said when it came to the whole mind control thing, is not just something that's happening in the United States. This is a worldwide business. Take, for example, this news clip involving China that happened just 9 months ago.
Involving the illegal trade of human corpses has been uncovered. Instead of being cremated, over 4,000 bodies were secretly sold to two major biomaterial companies which are tied to the state. The corpses were then dissected and turned into bone grafting materials, generating millions of dollars in revenue over a span of 8 years. The scheme involving funeral homes, doctors, and a state-owned enterprise has exposed a dark side of China's medical industry. Here's our report with more.
You hear this, right? You see what I'm talking about?
In northern China, prosecutors have uncovered a disturbing decade-long scheme involving the illegal sale of corpses meant for cremation. This scheme, spanning at least 7 provinces, has implicated dozens of suspects, including funeral home managers, doctors, and company shareholders. At the center of this shocking case are 2 companies, Shanxi Osteorad Biomaterial and Sichuan Hengpu Technology. From 2015 to 2023, these companies illegally obtained more than 4,000 corpses, generating nearly $53 million in revenue.
You better be careful what you eat. You know what I'm saying? And that goes for me too. After watching this, I will be very selective over what I purchase and what I digest.
The cadavers were collected from funeral homes across various localities and were then dissected, stored, and eventually processed into biomaterial devices used in bone grafting procedures. The scheme was not limited to just the companies. Funeral homes in the southwestern provinces of Yunnan, Guizhou, and Sichuan, as well as in the Chongqing municipality, played a crucial role. These funeral homes charged families for cremation services, but instead sold the corpses to hospitals for dissection and storage.
This is me showing you them saying this. That's a news report.
In some cases, unclaimed bodies were chosen for the illegal trade. A staff member at the anatomy department of Guilin Medical University purchased at least 450 corpses from 3 of these funeral homes, paying around $125 per body.
This is disgusting. It's important that we know what's going on.
The bodies were then sold to Shanxi Osteorad for up to $1,400 each. In another instance, a transplant surgeon at the affiliated hospital of Qingdao University processed and sold at least 10 bodies to the company, earning between $1,400 and $3,000 per corpse. Shanxi Osteorad staff not only mishandled the cadavers, but also fabricated the necessary documentation to cover their tracks. This allowed them to bypass strict regulatory oversight that typically governs the use of cadaveric tissue for medical purposes.
That's insane.
So yeah, there are many organizations out there, whether they are biotech companies, food companies, and so forth. They will not allow thousands of dollars to just waste in the ground. Or if you're doing cremation, they're not going to allow thousands of dollars to burn up in flames, especially.
Well, a person that has morals and honor would. That's sacred. You're not supposed to do that. If somebody did that to your family member that you cared about, you'd want to hurt them or something. Like, how dare they act like it's not that serious? I'm not going to let that money burn up. What are you talking about? You crazy? Oh, man.
Especially when these bodies have multi-purposes. But let's go ahead and see what other people are talking about. There are people out there that are saying how they're noticing their pets, their dogs, cats, birds, and so forth, are acting very strange, are acting very clingy, and some of them do not want to go outside. This has been something I've been noticing too lately. My dog's been very clingy. He doesn't want to go to his bed. He just wants to stay near me and hide under my desk. If I'm working or making a video on YouTube, he wants to stay here. He doesn't even want to go outside and stay outside without me or somebody else present. This video comes from the Truth Zone on TikTok, who has also been noticing an influx of people saying how their pets are acting very bizarre.
Okay, guys, has anyone noticed that animals have been acting very strange recently? I see a lot of people.
He said this from the Truth Zone.
Will point out that their pets have been acting very bizarre recently. I've seen even some people point out that their pets are even afraid to go out and use the bathroom. Have any of you all noticed this with your pet? And birds chirping at weird times and everything else. There's just a lot of weird stuff going on anymore, and it's hard to really explain it, but what do the animals know that we don't know?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the $1 million question. What do they know that we don't know? Because, again, there's just a lot of bizarre stuff going on anymore. Have any of you noticed this with your pet? Have any of you noticed this with animals in general? Something weird is going on. What do you think?
Does anybody else have their pet acting really strange? Mine is acting very weird. I have one little dog, Cutie Pie, but she has been very strange lately, especially the last few days. She doesn't want to leave your side. Even go to the bathroom, she'll go up to the door and sit and wait for you. It's very strange. She's never done that. Now we look around the house, and it's either she's right here up under our skin, or she is gone somewhere. We have to go look for her, which is also very, very weird. Like right now, she is upstairs, probably in her little bed, in our bedroom. And I'm like, what? She is panting when it's not hot, and she's just unsettled. Is anybody else having pets that are acting very, very strange? And do they know something we don't?
Was by NC Fire 3106, and somebody left a good comment by saying, I think our pets are acting weird because we are nervous about what's going on in the world. They are reacting to us and our stress hormones, then we pick up on the differences in their behavior. Now, animals, they definitely know things that we do not, but they also can tell when we're acting off or stressed too. So that's a really good comment.
Anyone else's animals acting like fools? Completely weird, annoying. No amount of walk, playtime, whatever will chill them out. Anyone? Mine are. Exhibit A. Been outside, been out of her crate for about 3 hours. Won't shut up. Exhibit B.
Just so you guys know too, I'm in New York. It is scorching in New York. It's like 100 degrees. It's like literally like 95 degrees with the heat index like 102, like some shit like that. It's crazy. That's why I got the air conditioner on. I didn't have my hat. Like you notice in the other videos, I have my hat on, but I'm like, I'm not putting no hat on. It just makes me hotter.
11. Never shuts up. Doesn't eat any other food. Wants to eat Twizzlers and friggin' chicken nuggets. Doesn't talk. Only knows how to bark. Good times. Craven, although he's not barking, he as well has been outside all day, all morning, and still wants more.
Craven the Hunter from Spider-Man. Toucan Sam. He barked.
Has anyone else noticed that birds are acting like they forgot how to be birds? Like, why are they flying so low and so slow? Like something weird is going on. I'm not saying that they're doing it on purpose, but they've been aiming for my car like it's a game of Flappy Bird, like Death Edition. Now, I'm not saying that birds aren't real, but something real weird is going on. Like there's a glitch in the Matrix, or I don't know, something strange is going on and the birds aren't acting like birds. Okay, that's all I gotta say.
That video is from Becca Miller, and I just feel like with all the things being sprayed in the skies, these chemicals and so forth, these birds just do not want to be up in the skies.
Now, he had talked about the chemtrails not too long ago, right? I looked out my window, right? I seen a jet flying through, and sure enough, there's chemtrails behind, right? This is like 3 weeks ago. So after that, I remembered that people were talking about fog, and they were saying that they're releasing aerosol into the air to shoot the sun back up. So, but after that happened, a deep fog hit New York. Now, I don't know if they're connected, but it's odd that I learned about chemtrails, seen chemtrails, and then that fog happened.
I just heard this creator talk about that her animals have been acting weird lately. And the way that she was talking about it, it made a lot of sense to me because mine have too. I have 2 cats and they have been extremely clingy lately. They want to be outside a lot, especially at night. My girl cat, who is very timid, who usually does not want to even barely be touched, she's always wanting to be near me now. She's always wanting me to rub on her. She is always wanting me to cuddle with her. My boy cat always wants to lay in the room with me. They both even lay on top of me when I'm in the bed, which is something that they have never done. I've had these cats for 3 years. Well, 4. They'll both be 4 this year. But has anybody else animals been acting weird? Well, not even weird, but more so very, just you could tell that they're on a different frequency right now.
You know, people know their pets well. It's not hard to believe that a pet changed its behavior and its owner noticed.
Like they can sense that something is different with this dimension that we're in right now. He can sense it as well. Well, most of us, those of us who are, woke, the other kind of woke, not the other woke on the left, but the woke. Cats in particular, very spiritual animals. They are beyond smart. Dogs are too. Cats be on a whole nother level. And I do notice that like they've been a lot more chilled. They've been a lot more like relaxed. I'm telling you, Soon as I get up, they move with me. I can't even go to the bathroom without my cats like scratching at the door, wanting to come into the bathroom with me. So they sense something. They can sense it. I'm wondering if anybody else is having the same situation happen with their animals. Leave it in the comments and let me know, because it seems that a lot of other people are going through it as well.
That video comes from Pretty Realist, and yeah, more and more people are noticing just how off animals are behaving.
Section 43201, it talks about replacing the Department of Commerce with AI. Now the question comes with, what else do they replace with? AI. And here's where it gets really strange. It talks about in this section below that no politician or governing body may stop AI for the next 10 years or enforce any laws or regulations regulating artificial intelligence models. That's Silicon Valley owning the government. Then we find Silicon Valley manipulating the weather. Then it gets weirder when we find AI and Silicon Valley entering the healthcare system to control all of that. And you can't sue any of these companies.
Drop a comment if you think that the government can manipulate the weather. I really would like for you people to let me know if you think they can control the weather, and even be specific whether you think it's hurricanes, thunderstorms, tornadoes, or all of the above.
Isn't that odd? And this kind of reminds me of the Vaccine Protection Act signed by Reagan in 1986, protecting all the vaccine companies from damages. There were so many lawsuits that they were actually going to go out of business, but the government protected them. Then it gets even deeper when we find Billy Boy Clinton in the Telecommunication Act of 1996. He passed a bill so if they put a cell phone tower in front of your house, you can't sue for any damages. Do you see how the government is kind of setting us up? And then they're going to replace the government with AI? It's kind of really strange. It's almost like Black Mirror. I don't know.
They always will protect themselves no matter what happens. And no regulations on AI for 10 years is absolutely crazy.
That's my boy, Minutes of Horror. People, tell me what you think, man. Tell me what you think about everything that you just saw. That's a lot of stuff to process. They're talking about that they're feeding us each other. It's your boy Spank Dog. I'm out of here.